It's summer term at Daubney Primary School. With the old deputies now gone, a brand new leadership team is in place. But the stresses of the last term have taken their toll on Vanda's health. And in the second week after Easter, Vanda is signed off sick by her doctor, and her new team are left to cope in her absence.
Hello, I've just been to the doctor. She gave me medication, so they're just going to knock me out for today and tomorrow.
And it's not just Vanda who's out. 12 members of the school staff are absent.
Tani's out, Carl's out, who else? Susan Lance is out. Well, the phone normally goes about, well, this morning it went just as I was at Stratford Station, and Jane will say, so-and-so's not in, have we got a supplier? And then you sort of go through in your head, you think, who's here, who's not here, who can we put here, there and everywhere? But I mean, on a day like today, when we've got so many out, you sort of run out of options, really. So that's then when you get up to the supply agency and away you go.
Andy, Miriam and Increase, the new assistant heads, are still getting to know each other. So it is a huge responsibility to be left in charge of Daubney.
She's actually quite poorly, so definitely this week it could possibly be longer.
It's 9:15, and they still have no cover for their Year 5 class.
We are just short on one at the moment, but we're trying some of the other supplies. So hopefully we should have someone by 9 o'clock. Fingers
Well,
crossed.
if the worst comes to the worst, we'll close the school. No, if the worst comes to the worst, we can split the Year 5 class, because we've got people who we can scatter them to the four winds. And, it's not the ideal solution, but when all else fails. She's emailed me and said thank you for holding the fort. It's just, hopefully, that's what we're going to do. And things won't go too terribly wrong in the meantime.
No, Hilton's going to take 5D until 10 o'clock. We've got a supply coming in around about 10 o'clock.
Lovely. That's absolutely great.
So, better late than never, every child has a teacher by 10 o'clock. The leadership team have come through their first challenge unscathed. After 10 days of absence, Vanda feels she can no longer delay her return to school, but this break from work has been essential.
I'd reached a point where I was so exhausted that I actually went away for a few days. My 79-year-old mother looked after me. It was lovely. You can't actually rest when you're at home and the school's in this sort of state, because people are asking you things all the time. If they can't contact you, then you get a rest, don't you? I think my being off for a week was actually quite good for them. And I remember when I was a deputy, and they're the equivalent of deputies, it was great when the head was off, because, you know, that sense of being in charge. So I think they had a good time.
It is reassuring for Vanda that her leadership team have managed so well in her absence. After all, Increase Echo and Miriam Doughty are very new in post.
Miriam and Increase are already here in the school, so I think that's actually quite important that they've been promoted within, having not been for years, and Andy's come in as an outsider, but that's important. And Miriam, again, incredibly capable. She'd just really been running the nursery for the last, 16 years, and straight away I realised what potential she had. So she's taken on the whole of early years and years 1 and 2. And she's tough, and that's good. You know, she can actually look at a teacher and say, this isn't good enough, I expect. And that's important, because it's important here, especially.
What are you eating, Quentin? Hello. Consistently over the years, we've been known for good practice, which Vanda already knew of, and asked whether I would be prepared to extend that good practice into the early years phase of Daubney School.
When the new head teacher started, and she came in, and basically she wanted the school to be very inclusive, because I was really excited the first day when she spoke, and she spoke about she's into inclusion and she wants people to love the children, and I mean, it was really good, and I thought I could work with her.
Did you do okay? Good boy. I'm really pleased with you.
He did his best, and then he's run around. Did you see his bus over there? It's not a big bus out there.
You're a good artist. Well done. Really pleased. Have a good day the rest of the day. And Increase, of course, is already in situ as the inclusion manager stroke assistant head. And I feel very confident with those three. They're very dynamic, they're very enthusiastic, they've got loads of ideas, and I think Miriam and Increase feel they've never been allowed to blossomed before, really. I think they feel much more empowered. I feel really confident. And I said to the Learning Trust this morning, to my advisor, that they're all going to do their MPQH. And I said, 2 years' time, you'll have 3 good heads here for Hackney schools. And I really believe that.
Steve's swimming next week.
Yeah.
And taking his class with him, because he's good like that. His class don't get in till about 9:10, some of them. He needs a coach. Can we relent on the coaches for him?
If I give a coach to one person, they'll all want her. They can run, it's good exercise. Andy, who joined us in January, what he came in to do has now dramatically changed, obviously because the load was spread with the other deputies then. So now he's leading in numeracy and assessment.
People seem to think that Hackney is some sort of strange ghetto town. Are you taking your bulletproof vest was one comment I got. And my other favourite comment when I was on a course was a deputy head said to me, "Oh, where is it you work?" I said, "Well, I work in Hackney." And she said, "Well, could you not get a job anywhere else?"
He can make us all laugh, and I think that is absolutely crucial, because at the moment we could go home in tears every day, you know, we're generally laughing hysterically. He's a lot to offer.
As Vanda now has confidence in her leadership team, she finally feels able to delegate some of her responsibilities.
I was talking to a head teacher who has turned around about 3 or 4 schools, and she said the first thing she does is get 3 skips in, and she puts everything into the skip. We haven't been that radical, but we have got rid of a lot of stuff that is just out of date, and we don't need it in the school.
Andy has made it his personal crusade to tidy up. Daubney is a very messy place. It does have a lot of clutter. This presents health and safety issues that are the responsibility of Billy Smith, the business manager.
Is that sort of congregate all the furniture outside here now and actually sort through and actually get rid of stuff, because they seem to sort of keep stuff for years and years and years that they're not necessarily going to use.
Truthfully, even looking the way I'm dressed, I used to walk around clean and tidy, not doing a great deal, quite honestly. I used to just oversee things, but basically the school's changing completely now. We're working at 100 miles an hour. Classrooms being decorated, furniture being moved.
The stuff we have cleared and the things we found, like these sort of things, you know, I've said I'm not buying any more coloured pencils until all these things are used up. If you'd have seen it when we first got these boxes down, it was just unbelievable. And teachers didn't even have a pair of scissors in the cupboard. So.
But not everything is as easy to sort as clearing a cupboard, and there are still problems in the staff room.
A lot of backbiting, a lot of people not being very nice to each other. Because if you're frightened you're going to lose your job and you see all the people around you, they're thinking, oh, they're all going or something, then it makes them more defensive themselves.
The school's action plan, which was developed as a result of the review, has set the target that 100% of lessons at Daubney should be good or better by September. There are a number of ways in which Vanda is working on achieving this target, one of which is evaluating every teacher's planning.
Do you think her planning's in the assessment folder? I don't. OK, if you locate it, send it to me in my room, will you? It's only to audit how people do. Thank you very much. Miss Momo, have you got your planning folder I could borrow, please? You haven't got it with you?
I'll bring it tomorrow.
That's fine. I think there's so many things being chucked at all the teachers because of the state the school's in that I know that they're feeling a bit overwhelmed and, oh, what's happening now and who's watching us now, but it's the only way, sorting the wheat from the chaff or whatever you say, and they've either got to come on board and really work 150% to turn this place around or not come on board and go. It sounds a bit ruthless, but I think you reach a point where there is so much to be done that you find yourself, you don't lose compassion, but I suppose you do start getting a bit more ruthless.
When Vanda meets with the Learning Trust literacy consultant, Jane Cominetti, to look at teachers' planning, it's clear there is a major problem.
We can't even find the planning. The planning is dire. I mean, it just shows... I mean, there is 1 or 2 exceptions, but it's just yet another... I'm speaking more bluntly, I think, this time than I did in the previous set of films. It's just another thing that shows how absolutely appalling and inadequate the situation is. And Jane just said, you know, if Ofsted came in here, well, yeah, they'd be appalled, wouldn't they? Absolutely appalled. We have to change the mindset of the teachers. I think there are teachers here who think it doesn't matter.
But school life continues, And though Vanda is dealing with massive issues, there are still day-to-day jobs that need her attention.
I just thought temporarily, isn't this what they do? Put masks in. I don't know, but I'm assuming it will stop it falling out or be less dangerous. He'll probably come and look at me and think, why on earth has she covered it up with masking tape? I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, Dave. It's slammed in... you'll probably be cross with me. It's slammed in the wind and the whole thing...
Thank you for doing it.
Is that the wrong thing to do?
No, that's fine. No, we'll remove the glass. Thank you very much.
I thought we'll have to peel it
You shouldn't be doing that. You're the head teacher.
Well,
It's halfway through SATS week, and a nervous time for Vanda, as the result of these tests will be the first significant benchmark of her impact on the school.
OK, we're going to go and get the SATS papers out. They're kept under lock and key. They're in a great big safe down here, which could have the crown jewels in it, really. And we're going to get the papers out and take them up to my office, and then I bring them down just before the test starts. Hi, Elaine. All right, is your computer working now? I think before, sometimes they've done them in classrooms, but it makes them feel more like students, more important, I think, if you set it out in this way. Poor things. And then they run riot in the afternoon. Hi, Nick. And it's English reading. It's actually quite traumatic, I think. What makes it traumatic is all the paperwork and all the bundling up you have to do and all the fact you're not allowed to open the packet before. And so there's a tremendous pressure on you just from a bureaucratic point of view, actually. And to be honest, I mean, Bert's worked incredibly hard, as the others have, but I know there won't be good results this year. We know that.
We've worked very hard, so we're hoping for the best. I think the kids are quite excited. Some of them are saying they did well, but you have to worry sometimes if they say it was very easy. But most of the kids, I think, did very well.
The children are very well disciplined here, so they've come in, they've worked hard, and there hasn't been any major issues, which I have had in other schools. I think the biggest problem has been at least between a dozen and 20 a day haven't had a decent breakfast before they've come, even though we've sent letters out. So we're feeding them before they start, because no one can function if you've had nothing to eat or drink since, I don't know, 7 o'clock the day before.
If you do not have one, put up your hand now. The kids, I think, did very well. I could see them putting in the effort. We were pressuring them to do the best because this does influence their secondary school. And I think the kids did really well. Most of them tried their best, and I could see even better than what they did for me in class. I'm very happy about that.
On the whole, the children have knuckled down and worked really hard. Every child has taken their paper, and I think done their hardest, but we look at the cumulative effect of poor teaching over a number of years, and I'm not expecting those results to be good. In fact, they're probably going to be dire. Something that the parents won't necessarily realise. They might see, oh, a new head came in September, the results are low, and they might think, well, it's because of me. Of course, they won't necessarily recognise the fact that it's going to take time to get those results better. So I'm quite anxious about getting that message across. But they're not going to be good results at all. Worse than last year. And I think I'm talking about something, oh, goodness, they're probably going to be as low as in the 50s. And that's pretty grim.
With SATS week now over, and with the end of the summer term in sight, it is time for Vanda to get on with transforming every aspect of her school.
If I actually stop and look back and look at what we're doing now and look at how the ethos has changed and look at the excellent relationships with the parents, we have done a lot. We have come a long way. So what you're saying is you actually like to do art every day?
Yes.
How good are you at your reading and writing?
I'm very good at
your
my
maths?
reading and my writing.
And I think the secret is and for any new head, you've got to keep telling yourself how far you've come, because it'd be very easy to get bogged down and give up. You know, oh, it's too much, I can't, I'm worn out. You've got to keep reminding yourself. And I've got some really nice staff who do remind me. In the school, there was about, I don't know, on average, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, about 7 to 10 books per class. So children couldn't take home reading books. There were other books, but they were about 1960 to 78. They were bizarre.
And the books for group reading were astonishing.
Hump the escalator. We didn't find Peter and Jane, but did we?
We did. We found Peter
but not
and
Janet
Jane,
and
but
John.
Not Janet and John.
Peter and Jean, I was
So
very
now
concerned.
we've spent, I think there's more books in my room just arrived. We must have spent over £10,000 and we still need to spend another 10,000. But at least there's enough books for guided reading now.
One of the key areas addressed in the action plan was early years teaching, and Vanda has brought in an entirely new approach to Foundation and Key Stage 1.
This is something that wasn't happening in September. Nice to see the group work with support staff. So we've got someone here doing some guided reading, and we've got someone over here doing guided reading. Now, these sort of small interventions, which will really raise standards, were not happening when I came in September. And Janet's been a key person in getting this training going with the consultants. So this is really nice to see, actually. So when we're walking about now, it's going to be more positive, I hope. Janet came here as a reading recovery teacher because we haven't got a literacy coordinator anymore. She's taken on that role in the early years and Key Stage 1.
Vanda asked that all the teachers should find ways of making their book corners more exciting. When she tours the school to check on progress, she's disappointed with what she sees.
It's too, no, it's messy, it's too squashed out, it's not good enough.
And Jackie's is too squished up as well, but she's done better with it because she's got some posters that actually relate to children reading books.
And we find the model ones, which we know there are, and then we'll get the others to come and look at them and show them.
I think that's the best.
And some of them have still got too much clutter, Janet.
Well, look at this in the cupboard in the corner. You know, if you've got little children in here reading books and you've got your files and your folders there, and you sort of...
Because it needed someone quite tough, and I think she's got that Scottish brusqueness where she can get things done. We'll pop into this one because this is a classroom we converted recently. Hello.
Back in January, Vanda had this classroom gutted so she could kit it out as a state-of-the-art early years room. The transformation is now complete.
Frances works in the nursery and she's doing her degree. She's taking classes as an instructor, going to be a teacher here in the future. Frances has been a key person in this classroom in setting up these zoning areas. Can you just say a little bit about them?
Well, each area's got a designated learning goal. So in an imaginative area, it's normally role play. It's a crown shop this week because it's linked in with the Cinderella story.
We're now looking at a more child-centred approach to learning. Previously, it was very much teacher-directed. Now we start with the child and their interests, and then we build the curriculum around that.
So all we've done simply really is we're still using the foundation curriculum with the early learning goals, but we've extended it. We've extended it to the end of year 1, and we're saying go outside in the outdoor environment and trying to make the learning more exciting and more creative. I think the teachers are more empowered. They were frightened at first because I was expecting them to teach in a different way, especially in early years. And if you take away the comfort zone or you start being challenging, and let's be honest, there hadn't been a lot of challenge here for a lot of years, so you do get that mass panic. And as you know, we did have some turnover. But now I think they're actually feeling more in control and more empowered. And I think they're actually, oh yes, it does work. What we're calling it is learning through child-centred structured play, and it's more like what happens in Finland and Sweden, or sort of based on that. So instead of just sitting in the classroom, it particularly happens, I think, in all authorities in reception year 1, they're sat on the carpet for ages. So it's actually taking them out and making them more independent with different things. But there's lots of talking, there's lots of singing, there's lots of... The learning is really active, it's not boring.
I know the head is very much for teaching a full curriculum, and I think the kids are going to enjoy it. She always says, teach them the work, make sure they enjoy it.
1, 2...
Vanda is determined to meet the targets laid out for her by the Learning Trust. And to achieve this, for those staff falling behind, intensive training schemes have been put in place.
Actually, I'm quite cheered up. I went home a bit fed up yesterday. I think you need to come out and about a bit more. Sometimes you get involved in some horrible thing in your office and you actually forget what you've done. I'm glad you made me come out. It's cheering me up.
From the outset, Vanda and myself, we made it very clear that if somebody's teaching wasn't quite up to scratch, then we would help them. There would be support put in. Whatever they needed, if they asked for it, then they would get it, and we would do that for them.
You have to say the word to yourself to know on which chair to put it on. So let's go, Najiba. You can come and choose stuffing from the basket.
Monica Blasiak, reception class teacher, has just completed training in phonics.
From the basket, show it to the class and tell them what is the last sound of that.
It's just what we wanted them to do. So I just have written down, can the teaching assistants come and see this, and other teachers to look at Monica doing it, because it's so good.
I'm particularly impressed about Monica. In fact, well, she's actually going to come into year 3. But yesterday, Miriam said to me, "Oh, don't take her out of early years." But it's because she's got that talent, and she's really fired up by the training and wants to develop her own career. And lovely. This is really nice, coming in and seeing that. I think there'd been a distinct lack of training for all the teachers here. And I know we've spent something like 5 to 10,000, I'm not sure exactly, on training since I've been here. That's just sending people on courses. Oh, did you bump your head? Are you going to show me? There's a bumped head sticker. If you go into a good school, you wouldn't be doing any of this at all. I mean, we're having to really start at the bottom. But we're making progress, and I think we've made a huge amount of progress, but there's still a long way to go. Now, that's going to be different. We need to talk to Miriam about that.
And it's not just the teachers Vanda is offering training to, but the school support staff as well.
I'd like to do my MVQ level 2.
Oh, no, I'm really pleased.
You'd support me. Yes, you did. So,
yes, she's going to do her MVQ level 2. Isn't that good? Lots of people are coming to us now. I'm really pleased.
Right.
So do we organise that through you when you're feeling better?
Yes.
Right. They're asking to do NVQs. I've got 3 of them now doing degrees. Really, they were ready and waiting to be led and willing to be trained. And I think, like most of us, they wanted the opportunity to develop their career and to take it further.
Even with her new policies in place, each week brings unexpected situations for Vanda to deal with.
Laura's our learning mentor here in the school. She's been working very hard with a Kosovan family who were made homeless some months ago, but Laura managed to get an extension till April. It's really difficult for them. And the good news is she's just shown me an address in Romford. So I've just said to Laura, how on earth did you get this address?
I pulled in all the favours that this school was ever going to ask, and we've asked a lot of people, and we've just got a nice address, a lovely house, and we hope she goes. Really, really do.
Because Laura's been liaising with the Learning Trust and with housing.
Homeless and housing. But while we've been doing this, we've also making contact now that we've got somebody at the homeless place now who actually knows the school.
Vast majority, I think I can say, and I certainly couldn't have said that a few months ago, are completely on board, are asking for more training, and are feeling empowered, and are stopping me and saying things like, especially if they're parents too, "Oh, I didn't realise how poor it was before," or "I didn't realise how that we should be doing guided reading," or stuff like that. So I think they're really pleased, actually.
After the trials of her first year at Daubney, Vanda is now beginning to reap the rewards of having a unified leadership team.
I think it's brilliant. I think it's necessary for us to move forward. We're not being asked to do anything out of the ordinary.
Having the new leadership team has been, I don't know, like having a refreshing glass of water or something. I don't know what analogy to use. It's great. I think one of the things that characterises a lot of our meetings is we laugh a lot. And quite frankly, if you didn't laugh a lot, you would be putting your head down and howling, because the workload is so phenomenal. And there's been times, not so much with an increase in Miriam, because I think it's still very new to them, but certainly Andy's been taking a huge amount of the load from me. And there's been times in the last couple of weeks when I've been a bit worried about him, because it's an awful lot to take on, but he's fine. And I think we laugh a lot and we're doing it together, and I feel very confident. It's great. And I've said to the Learning Trust, 2 years' time, I will have you three heads for your schools in Hackney. Right, so what are you going to do today so I can let you do it tomorrow? And that means pay attention, say sorry to Mrs. Wynyard. If you do that, then tomorrow I will think about putting you in another class to help. Do we agree? Go and say sorry then, and don't get sent out again. Or I'll ring home.
It's nearly the summer holidays, and Vanda has survived her first year as head of Daubney. Was it what she expected?
I think if I'd have known back in September when I first became head here, just how much there was to do. I wouldn't have run a mile. Your next sentence is going to be, I'd have probably run a mile. I think I would have been much more daunted than I was. I had no idea that every time I did something, I would discover 10 more things to do. I didn't realise I mean, I think I've got good people skills and they have been stretched to their absolute limit because there have been some very difficult people attached to this school and some difficult parents attached to the school, but that's primarily because of what happened before. I really didn't realise how tough it would be. I think it has been the toughest journey I've walked. The highs of it are moments like when Darlington recites his poem. Okay, you ready? Big breath, lovely clear voice.
Let's keep it. Let's keep it blue, the sky, the sea. Let's keep it green, the grass, the trees. Let's keep it clean, the sky, the sea, the grass, the trees. It's up to you, it's up to me. The grass, the tree, the sky, the sea. Let's keep it. Let's keep it.
Well, it's the children that give you those highs. It's not the grown-ups, it's the children that give you those highs. I suppose overall there's been more lows than highs, if I'm honest. Without a doubt, without a doubt. The highs have been quite small, but you've only got to look into it sounds naff, but you've only got to look into a child's face at a certain moment. Or recently we had a really nasty child protection issue, and when you feel that you've rescued someone or done something like that, that you know what you're in the job for. But there's been far more lows than highs this year. I mean, I must be mad to carry on. But there has been, and maybe this time next year I'll be able to say, oh, there's been far more highs than lows. But I'm still smiling, I'm still here, I'm still alive. I've got a new leadership group. Kids are really positive.